Good afternoon. It's fall. It's Friday, and this is the Friday Student Ambassador Workshop series for the Hostos Student Leadership Academy. I'm happy that you could be here to join us in person, and for those who will watch this afterwards, we hope that you're as inspired by what's going to happen here today as the folks who are here partaking of it. Today we have with us one of the most profound individuals that I've gotten to know through this programming that we do. I miss him, seeing him in person. He used to come to the campus 2 or 3 times a year and visit with us and do these workshops in person. And I hope at some point in the near future we're going to be able to return to that. And over the last 2 years, he's been really wonderful with us, coming to us from all over the world. I don't know, places like Hawaii and was it, Portugal. I'm not even sure, but he's kind of always willing to come and join us. And so he's here today. He's in New York now, so he's a lot closer than he's been in the last couple of times. And I think that this workshop will really get us off and started in the right direction for your leadership journey, because it really asks you to sort of understand where you've been, where you're coming from, and where you're going. And so I turn this workshop over to my good friend Brian Rashid, and let's go. Let's make it happen.
There we go. Thanks a lot, Jason, and thank you for having me, and thank you for that kind introduction. It's good to see a few familiar faces on here. And thank you for coming back and hanging out with us again. And for the new faces, it's good to see you, although a lot of the cameras are off, which will if you're able to enable your camera, that would be amazing. Even if you're like, yeah, I love seeing the smiles. It's so much more engaging. So yeah, thank you. And thank you all for coming today. Thank you for spending some time here on Friday afternoon with us here in this, wherever you are in the world. I'm in New York at the moment, and I've been here since June, and I'll give you a little bit of background about my story. But before I do that, I just wanted to say thank you. I really value your time. I really value the fact that you're taking some time out of your schedule and your day to be here to work on yourself, really, and to continue to get to know yourself deeper and better. And have a really sweet session lined up for us. And the more we can all kind of interact and participate, the better. And so there's going to be a lot of interaction in the chat. There's going to be some role playing. There's going to be some interacting with people through video if you're up for that. And so just thank you for being here and for signing up and for showing up. So as Jason mentioned, I'm a huge fan of Jason, of this program, of all of you. Like I've been now we're going on about 11 years doing this together, and I always say this, but I speak all over the world, and I do workshops and conferences and all kinds of things all over the world. But coming to CUNY, and I can't wait to come back in person soon, is one of my favorite, if not my favorite thing that I get to do all year. I just am blown away at how smart and how brilliant and visionary and self-aware you all are. Every single year, I do it once or twice a year with you all, and I'm just always blown away. And I'm a CUNY grad myself. I went to CUNY at Queens College for law school. So I'm a big believer in the CUNY system. I'm a big fan of the CUNY system. And it's always just such a pleasure to be here, to be with you, to jam with you. And so it feels really good to be back in New York. So my quick story, and then we'll jump into
Hey Brian, I accidentally muted you. I apologize. I was letting somebody in and they got in.
wow, that's funny. It's already bad. Is that your way of saying it's over? 2 minutes in. So I went to college in the middle of America, and then I graduated. Moved to San Francisco, and I did AmeriCorps for a year. Had a really beautiful year there, teaching in San Francisco. And I came to law school in New York because I had political aspirations. I thought it'd be fun to be the mayor of New York City. And so when I moved to New York for law school, my vision, my plan was to become the mayor of New York City. And so when I graduated from law school, I went and I worked for Mike Bloomberg, who was the mayor at the time. And what's up, Brian? And and then I worked for him for 3 years, and I stayed in his administration, and I loved the job, but I realized I did not want to become the mayor of New York City. I was an entrepreneur. I was a creative. I wanted to start my own thing. I was tired of asking for permission for ideas to come true. And so I moved back to San Francisco, and I started my own business. And initially it was really a communications business where I was doing a lot of what I was doing for the Bloomberg administration, which was speechwriting and storytelling. So I was working with a lot of executives from tech companies, places like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google, all kinds of places in the Silicon Valley that were people were trying to think about how could we tell our story? How can we make our product and our service exciting? And I was working with them and coaching them and advising them. And then I realized that I had a real gift for helping people tell stories that were really outside of the box, because these people would start to ask me, well, can you help us do these ideas? Can you make these videos? Can you create these projects? And so I started slowly building out a team, and that brought me back to New York City, where I built out a small creative agency, and we were based down in the lower financial district of Manhattan. And we were doing all kinds of things, from podcasts to video production to social media campaigns. I was speaking around the world about personal branding and storytelling. And I absolutely loved it. And for some reason in 2019, I really started to get these whispers. That's the best way I can explain it. Like, they're like whispers from the angels that said, like, time to move out of New York, time to get rid of your apartment, time to hit the road and do international projects. And this is before any of the crazy pandemic happened. So at the end of 2019, I got rid of my apartment and I gave away all my things. And my rule was, this year for 2020, I'm going to live out of a carry-on suitcase. I'm going to just literally have a carry-on suitcase, and that's all my possessions have to fit in there, and that's it. And so I did that. And in 2020, I went to Uruguay in South America with the plan of staying for 1 month. I had an entrepreneurship competition that I was doing there, and I was going to launch from there, and then I was going to go all over Latin America, and I was going to go over to Europe, and I was going to continue to promote it. And 1 week before my return flight to New York, because I was actually speaking at Fordham University's business school at the end of March, 1 week before my flight, the airport closed. And the airport remained closed for almost 1 year. So I stayed in Uruguay for 1 year, trapped in Uruguay. And it was a really intense year, and it was a really interesting year. And towards the end of my year in Uruguay, I wrote the country a love letter. And it was called An American's Unexpected Love Letter to Uruguay During a Global Pandemic. So I posted it on a Thursday night in October, and on Saturday I started to get all of these messages. And I put it on my Facebook, put it on my Instagram, and I had a couple thousand followers at the time on those platforms. And I started to receive, like, you know how in Instagram, if you ever get more than, I mean, I've never received this, but if you get more than 99 messages, direct messages in your Instagram DM, it says like 99 plus. So I'm at a museum on Saturday, and I look at my Instagram, and it says 99 plus messages. And the first thing that I think is that I've been hacked. Like, I'm like, wow, somebody is like, some robot is like messaging me 100 messages, like, DM us and we'll make you millions of dollars. So I start opening these messages, but they're real people that have written like letters to me about how much my love letter influenced them, and how much they now live in Miami, or their mom lives in Uruguay, or they're Venezuelan, and so I realized that this letter had at this point gone viral, and CNN Espanol contacted me. They said, can we come? We want to do a story about you. I was on like every single Uruguayan TV show in the country. And it was a crazy, crazy, crazy time where I was just riding this wave of virality, really. And I realized that this was not the first time that I had written a letter to a place that had gone viral. I wrote something to New York that went viral back in 2016. I wrote something to the country of Armenia that went viral back in 2016 as well. I wrote something to my hometown that went viral back in 2017. So I started to realize, wow, there's something here. And I started to think about the fact that I wanted to build a platform that would be love letters to the world. And so when in 2021, I moved to Hawaii for a year because I wanted to really think about what that would look like. And I wanted time to write, and I wanted to be in nature, and I wanted to be with no distractions. And so I did that. And when I moved to Hawaii and started this Love Letters platform, I realized that the place that I really wanted to launch it was back in New York. And so I came back to New York in June of this year, and I started this Love Letters to the World, New Love Letters to New York City series. And it's a series of short films and longer love letters that highlights people and places of hope and positivity around New York City. So I'll put it in the chat if you guys all want to check it out at some point. But what I realized through these last 2 years of really like shifting a lot and re-innovating a lot and restarting a lot, during the pandemic, I lost 85% of my business. No one was doing videos anymore. No one cared about podcasts anymore. No one was having conferences. So I wasn't speaking anymore. So literally, like, I did 15% online consulting, but 85% was gone. And so I had to kind of reinvent and do another deep dive into my own soul in terms of what is this that I want. And I landed on this idea that I want my work to be a representation of hope, and I want it to be a creative expression, but I also want to incorporate it into these trainings that we do. And so that's something that Jason and I have been experiencing together these last couple of years, which was I've moved less into like the personal brand and more into like the personal development and more into like the personal, like being true and being free within yourself, and then letting that be the mechanism and the channel to really do whatever you want in life. But first we have to get super honest about who we are, where we've come from, and what we're doing before we can even have a prayer to actually know what we want to do. So this is a part of my Love Letters to the World offering, are these workshops. And we're going to do that today. So thank you for listening to that. It's I did that as fast as I could. There's a lot of things to it, and I think that what I'm really excited about today is that I want to hear your stories. And even if you don't share them publicly, which you totally don't have to, because some of these get very, very personal. I just want to facilitate a moment, an hour here, where you can just singularly focus on yourself. We don't give ourselves that opportunity very often. We are so externally stimulated, and we are so that there's such a need for us to continuously validate ourselves to other people, but we haven't done a lot of the self-development work to just be okay with who we are in the moment. So that's a bit of a background. And I'd like to, there's a lot that we can do today. So I'm gonna kind of vibe on your energies as well. And if you can just drop into the chat right now, what is the biggest frustration or challenge that you're having in life? And that can be as broad as you want. That can be personal, that can be professional. I'm gonna just read these in the chats. Just drop in something that's kind of frustrating for you or challenging for you at the moment. Giving you anxiety, giving you a little worry. What is on your mind that's something that's not going totally awesome at the moment? Knowing what it is I really want to do with my life. Family issues. Thank you, Jose. Work-life balance. Classes and trying not to obsess over my weight loss for weight loss surgery. Yep, good. School, my mother. I base my worth on grades. Stability I need financially to help. What career I want. My science class. All right. Sure, the struggle is real. Stress. Anybody else? These are great. All right. So now I want you to think about, now I'd love to hear from you. When you read the description of today's workshop, or even if you haven't read it and just listening to what I just shared, what do you hope that you get from this section, this session, this workshop? What do you hope that you walk away after having a little bit more sense of? So fun to see so many familiar faces. I see Kim jumping in. I see Ashley and Liz. It's fun. Walking more with a little bit more of a sense of what I want out of life. Good. Feel less stressed. Good. Appreciate what I have. That's great. Clarity. Beautiful. Emotional and mental clarity. Cool. Relating with others. Okay. Enhancement of leadership skills. Awesome. More direction in life. Got it. What else? What else? What else? Knowing I'm not alone. That's awesome. You're not alone, Mary. We are all here with you. What else? All right. Keep dropping them in. These are great. Thank you for your participation. Get back to writing to myself and others. That's great. Okay. So learning more skills, be happy. Awesome. Okay. So here's the next question that I want everyone to answer, and then we're going to get into some interactive exercises. I'd love to hear from you where you're at with your current level of satisfaction professionally or personally. And what I mean by that is I'd love to hear in the comments something that's exciting you right now, personally or professionally, that you want to pursue more of, whether it be to find a job or to continue like your own personal happiness, but something that you are excited about in the moment that you want to work towards even more. So like, I'm excited about my internship because I think it might lead to a full-time job. I'm excited about the fact that I get to graduate in 6 months because I have $50,000 worth of debt that I need to start paying off. I'm excited that I just paid off $1,000 of debt and I need to do 49,000 more. I'm excited that I'm having a baby. I'm excited that whatever. So what are you excited about in the moment that you are looking forward to keep continuing to do? Transferring, open up more opportunities and grow and meeting more people. Great. Felicia can't hear. Can everybody else hear? Excited about getting my degree. Felicia, maybe turn your computer off, or maybe make sure your volume's up. Happy to be in school. I'm excited to turn 18 in 2 weeks. Congratulations. Okay. Having the opportunity to continue my education and put myself and my goals first. Great. Being in college and pursuing computer technology to help others who need it. Good. What else are you all excited about? Part of the selected candidate, graduation, rad tech program. Good job. I'm excited that I'm in school. Wow, that's great. Excited about being in school, graduating in the spring after taking a 20-year break. Wow, good for you. That's inspiring. 20-year break. Step closer to my dreams. Okay, great. Okay, so I lied. I said this is the last question, but I have one more question. I'm sorry. I'm a curious writer. What do you want from me? I'm curious about what it is currently that is preventing you from being happy and loving yourself. What is it that is preventing you from being the happiest you can be and loving yourself the most that you can? I'm not going to say more than that. You get to direct that however you want. And drop your comments in the chat if you'd like. You're also completely welcome to direct message me those answers, and I will not say names. For all of that, right? If you ever don't want anything public, you can always just direct message or not reply at all and have it for yourself. But I want you to think about these questions. My high expectations. Yep. Pretty happy person. I feel like a low amount of time to myself comes in. Yeah. Voice in my head. Money. Not being where I thought I would be professionally. Yep. What else? These are great. Comparing myself to others. Yeah. Anybody else want to share? Yeah. Comparing with others, not feeling good enough, lonely. Good. Good. Okay. So I'm happy every day that I wake up. Everything else comes with its territory. Each day is an actual blessing. Love that, Brian. Love that. So true. Okay. So everybody's going to have a pen and a paper, or just you can use your computer, or if you have an iPad, or if you have your phone or whatever. I love me. I just want to finish school to get a job. That's great. Love that you love yourself. So really my hope for this next hour is that we take some time to really honor what we've done. You know, there's so many things that we can do. There's so much forward looking that we can do. And a lot of the work that we did in the past with the students, with all of you, was really forward looking. It was, hey, how can I create my brand? Hey, how can I know what I want out of life? Hey, how can I think about my perfect job? Hey, and all that is still something that I'm very passionate about. I just think that the way that we get there is a little bit different, right? The way that we get there is by saying like, oh, actually, I've been preparing for this. Or actually, I've been waiting for these moments where I could actually deepen my connection with myself. And that makes the thing that I thought that I wanted to do actually is not the thing that I wanted to do. It's the thing that my dad wanted me to do, or my husband wanted me to do, or my mom wanted me to do, or my sister wanted me to do. But when I'm really digging inside, I realize I don't actually want to do that. And so that's really what I want this to be about today. I really want this to be an absolute true dedication to us finding our own truths, our own realities, our own thoughts, right? So first thing I want you to do is so get out something that you can write with. Any thoughts or questions so far before we jump into the actual interactive exercise? Any questions at all about what I've said, about your own processes, anything at all? And you can always drop questions in as well. Just take a minute here, see if anybody has any questions. Okay, cool. So let's jump into it. So get out a piece of paper or a notebook or a phone. If you're on your phone, please don't go into your Instagram or your Facebook. I really want you to have I mean, you can do whatever you want, right? But my wish for you is that you really dedicate an hour of time to yourself right now. Like no more distractions, no more Instagram DMs, no WhatsApp's off, like everything's off. Right? Everything's off. Just give yourself an hour. All right. So I want to just ask a few prompt questions, and then we're gonna roll. Right. So the first prompt question is, my favorite thing about myself is, drop it in. My favorite thing about myself is. And then let's do this, because I think we should do I want to hear your voices as well. Just unmute your line and tell me what it is. We can try and just letting people unmute by themselves, and then if that gets chaotic, we can monitor more.
Being an optimist.
Okay, you're being up. So so here's what I'm gonna do. So when you respond, I'm gonna actually ask you another follow-up question. And all of you, even though Ashley is the one that was brave and responded, you should all start thinking. So Ashley, when was the last time you were an optimist?
Today,
What did you do that was optimistic?
I was kind of confused about my science homework, and instead of just not completing it, being scared, I I asked myself, what is the worst that can happen? You know, I could get a bad grade, or I can get a grade for completing something, for handing something in. So I looked at it from the glass being half full. Like, I didn't totally give up. I pushed myself.
Great. And did you get it done?
Yes,
And how do you feel now?
I feel relieved because I didn't give up.
Mhm. And okay, perfect. Thank you, Ashley. So keep that in mind. Your optimistic spirit. That's what you love most. That's what your favorite thing is about yourself right now. Who else wants to go?
Me.
Yes.
I'm very persistent. I don't give up when I want something.
And when was the last time that you were persistent?
Last time, today, like every day, I fight for my dreams. Like, for example, I'm a returning student to Hostos.
Yep.
I quit in 2018 and I just returned this semester. I mean, in the spring 2022 to get my associates and then keep going from there.
And what are you most proud about with your persistence?
That I'm actually here, taking advantage of the opportunities, actually doing research, and I'm very proud of myself, of my achievements. Because since I went back to school this year, I've been able to achieve some things that I wasn't able before. For example, I joined the SGA at Hostos, the Student Government Association. So I'm very proud of myself so far.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's good to see you again. Because you were at one of the old ones. You were at one of the previous ones, right? No. See, so you have a twin sister then, it appears. Because
probably because I
A
have
doppelganger.
And before she was still too young and I didn't have the time.
Okay. You look so familiar. Okay, well, thank you for being here. Who else wants to go?
I will.
Okay, Sashi, go for it.
My favorite thing about myself is my dedication. Because when I'm dedicated to something, I work on it and I don't quit. And if I have to like be patient, I like tell myself, be patient, it'll come. Be patient, it'll come. And I'm very dedicated when I want something.
Great. And when was the last time that you felt dedicated to something?
Right now, I have my weight loss surgery. I'm dedicating myself right now to making sure to go to the gym, eat correctly, and take my vitamins and be more healthy. Because I'm 32, so I want to be more healthier.
So this is awesome. Thank you for sharing this. So let me ask you a question, and this is something I also want all of you to think about. What is something that you think could be a potential problem for you to maintain that healthy lifestyle?
So I know this was a reoccurring issue I had, that I'll lose weight and then for some reason I start feeling myself and then I just stop. So like after 3 months or so, that's when I'm like, oh yeah, I look good, I'm good. I already ate healthy, and then I start drinking, partying, and then I go downhill from there. So I want to make sure that I make my short-term goals like 6 months and then continue to long-term goals for it.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you, Sashi. Congrats. Who else wants to share?
I can.
Go for it.
Yeah. Okay. Can you hear me clearly?
I can hear you crystal clearly. I think I spoke too early. Gladys, I can't hear you. I'm sorry. You can hear me? Now I can.
My favorite part about myself is my leadership. Okay, my favorite part about me is my leadership ability, conform to the norm. I keep myself what I believe, I stand right by it.
And what was the last time that you did something that you felt like you were being a leader?
Last night.
What did you do?
Last night, I actually I had to minister at on Zoom at my church, because we're having this Impact Eternity event, and I gave myself to go ahead and do like leading that, because they were looking for leaders. So I'm always giving myself to lead in things.
That's
As
awesome.
long as it's there that I could do, then I will do. And that's why I joined this group too, because it has to do with leadership, and I want to see how I can build up more on whatever I'm weak on to make it stronger.
Okay, good. Thank you, Gladys. Anybody else want to share?
Yes.
Go for it. Is it Iamina?
Lamina.
Oh, Lamina. Oh, that's an L. Okay, Lamina. Cool.
So I feel like I'm an overachiever. Like I want to, like, I don't expect less. So yeah.
And I see you just messaged me that, or you messaged the group that you stay up till 4 a.m. to study.
Yes, I have 2 exams coming up. So
Okay. And what, why do you think you're an overachiever? What do you think is going on there?
I feel like when I get a bad grade or something, I feel like I'm not good enough. Like I want to become a doctor, so I feel like I'm not good enough to become a doctor when I get a bad grade. So I set myself very high expectations, and when I get less than what I'm trying to get, it's gonna really affect my mental health, and I feel that I'm not good enough to follow my dreams. So it's a fear for me to fail. So that's why I feel like I'm an overachiever.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Lamina. Okay. Anybody else want to go?
I can go.
Let me see. I think my chat box is over your head. Is it Kayleen?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Go for it.
So I think I'm like a really kind person.
Great. And when was the last time that you felt like you were really kind?
I think I'm kind like every day, especially to other people, like, just saying good morning to somebody or like holding the door for someone. I think it goes a long way.
And what is the correlation between kindness and success for you in life?
I think you have to be you have to be kind to be successful, because it matters to people the way that you treat them. So I feel like that's part of success, especially if you're dealing with others and whatever you work in.
Beautiful. Okay, so thank you all so much for sharing. Now we're going to do some writing. Okay, so what I want you to do, and we're going to take, let's say it's 4:08. Let's go until 4:20. Let's take 12 minutes. Now we have limited time, right? So I wanna do more than just have you write for the whole hour. You could probably write for an hour, right? And that would be something that would be worth doing maybe after we have this time together. But I just want you to, what I want to do now is just have you write, just literally free write. You don't have to worry about punctuation or grammar, if it makes sense, or body type of the paragraph or indentation, nothing. All I want you to do is write a love letter to yourself as if it were a book or a movie, or just a simple letter to yourself about why you are amazing. Just free write, all right? And I'll take you. I'll let you know when it's 12 minutes, so you don't have to worry about like keeping track of time. I'll give you a couple minutes heads up, but just start. And you're literally going to start, Dear Ashley, and then you're going to write yourself a love letter. And you take it however you want, and then we'll reconvene and we'll have some shares, and then we'll look into some insights, and then we'll we'll continue on. All right. So I'll see you in 12 minutes. We'll go to 421. take 2 more minutes, please. All right, go ahead and wrap up here in the next minute. So get final couple thoughts down. All right, in the meantime, I'm just gonna drop in here to the chat my social media handle. I'm on Instagram. I'm on everything: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Instagram's probably where I'm most active, and then I'm also gonna write in here the page, the website to the love letters if you all want to check them out. I think you'll be inspired by some of the stories. Okay. All right. So who wants to share what they wrote? the moment of truth. Bum, bum.
I can go first unless anybody else wants to go.
Go for it, Casey.
Hi everyone, I'm Casey Witter. And I'll read this. Dear Casey, you might not think much of it, but you are amazing. Smile, breathe, relax. Take a compliment, it does no harm. You are amazing. You're moving at your own pace. You're working on you. It's hard at times, but you've come so far. Take a look and see how far you've come. In everything, give thanks. You are amazing. Win or lose, you are amazing. Sometimes we laugh and sometimes we cry. Moments of bliss and moments of sorrow. Dear Casey, you are amazing. Regardless of what might, keep smiling and keep thriving. Thank you.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Who wants to go next?
I'll share.
Thank you, Sashi.
Sashi, you are such a kind and friendly person. I know you will achieve your goals no matter how hard it takes. You are also worthy of love, even though it's been rough in that department. One day you will have everything you want. And always remember, better late than never. You choose not to give up. And that, Sashi, makes you really strong. You raised a child as a child, all on your own. You got your GED. You went to college twice. You sacrificed yourself to be better for your future. You are strong and beautiful. What you can have is endless. Don't quit, baby girl.
That's great. Thanks, Sashi. Beautiful. Who wants to go next? And just Mary, we'll go to you in a second. But just to kind of uncover what we're doing here. It's like, I think that we need to start to normalize ourselves giving ourselves credit in front of other people. You know, this is a little bit of an uncomfortable exercise, right? Like to read your letter about yourself that you've written to yourself in front of other people, to yourself. It's like, sitting down and writing yourself a love letter is already enough of kind of I don't want to say a strange thing because I'm trying to like make this a normal thing, but it's already something that we don't really do, right? I've been writing love letters to the world. I've been writing love letters to my lovers. I've been writing love letters to places. I've been writing love letters to people. But have I ever written a love letter to myself in my life? Nope. You know, isn't that funny? Isn't that funny that we're so quick to point out the good and to celebrate and to showcase everyone around us. But when it comes to ourselves, it's like, why would I write myself a love letter? So that's kind of the psychology behind this, right? It's like, how can we, number one, take time out to, you know what? You're amazing. You know what? I love that. You raised the kid as a kid. That's a really powerful line, you know? And maybe that thought is going to be the unlock to something else. Maybe that thought runs parallel with when you're like, oh, I don't want to go to the gym today. It's like, hey, you raised the kid as a kid, did the GED, you went back to college twice. Like, this 60-minute workout is nothing compared to all that, you know? And so these are used. I want these to be tools for us as reference points to what is possible for us because of us. And then to normalize the ability for us to read our good thoughts and our good feelings about ourselves, right? To a group of people, to a leadership community, right? And saying like, here's what I'm up to. Here's what I'm amazing at. Hey, you need a little bit of kindness in your life? Call me. You know, you need a little bit of like love in your life? Call. You worried about not knowing how to raise a kid as a kid? Call me. You know, so there's a community building aspect to this as well, right? So thank you. That's why it's really beautiful that you all share. Okay, Mary, go for it.
Mine's a bit long.
That's okay. You deserve all the time.
I like to write. I actually journal, so it was like
great.
really natural to me. I have like 5 diaries.
Oh, keep them.
I do. I want to throw some out just to like, you know, but then I don't. So
Yeah, or like, you know, if you do feel like you're ready to move on with them, have some sort of ceremony, you know, like where you release it.
I might do something like that. So I'm gonna read it. So I wrote, Dear Mary, you try to be the best person you can every day. Sometimes you doubt yourself because you listen to your thoughts more than what you put into life. But regardless, you are doing great. No matter what you may think. You are bright. You are a kind, bright light who will go above and beyond to anyone she loves. You're passionate. You're creative. You're very smart. You try to be a dependable friend. You show you care by listening, and a day doesn't pass where you won't try to make someone else laugh, even if you yourself aren't feeling your very best. I like that you show how compassionate you are, even when you are most vulnerable, because it shows that the world can change your heart, even if it tries so hard. Please stay true to that. Sometimes you are a perfectionist, but it's because you care. It is all, after all, about the details. I want you to grow into the best version of yourself. It's time to let go of what doesn't serve you and be free, for real this time. And remember, as long as you are doing the right thing, you don't need to question life so much. You deserve it, and you owe it to yourself. Life is a journey. It's meant to be lived and not overly calculated, because it's like, what's the point, right? It will all turn out all right. It doesn't matter how much of a Virgo you are. I want you to know that you are destined to be great. Everyone is truly doing the best they can. So love yourself a little each day. And remember that as long as you are growing, you are living. With much love, Mary.
I love that. I love that. You know, you really, I think that what you did that was so powerful there is that you identified some of the places where maybe you could have been hard on yourself, right? Like the perfectionism and even like that last line of as long as you're growing, you're living. It's like there are so many. You've actually given me another idea about something. This is why I love interaction, because I plan certain things out, but then there's something that comes. There's always something that comes in these sessions that I'm like, oh, we should direct there. So I want to come back to this idea of like shining light on our imperfections, right? Shining light on those imperfections. So remind me, I'm going to do maybe 1 or 2 more shares here, and then we're going to shift into another interactive exercise that was just inspired by what Mary read. That was beautiful. Anybody else want to go?
Yeah, I'll go.
Okay, Lamina, go for it.
Dear Lamina, I know you are scared that you might not be good enough, but you're doing great. You're doing fine. You're in the right place. You need to be right now. You are so strong and you're worth so much. Your grades don't reflect who you are. You are worth so much more than numbers on the screen or on the paper. You're such an amazing kid. Your parents are proud of you and they're not disappointed. Just keep swimming. You got this. Soon you'll reach the shore.
Wow, beautiful. Yeah, that was potent. This idea of like your value is not something, right? Some grade, something, your weight, your whatever, your value is independent, right? That was beautiful. That was beautiful. And so this is really interesting because Lamina and Mary kind of did the same thing in a little bit different ways. So it was like you both identified like you almost went towards the weakness, like towards the frustration. That's why I opened this conversation with what is something that you're frustrated about or challenged by, because it's oftentimes that's the thing that makes us question ourselves the most, right? So I think what I'd like to do now, because these two were such good transitions into it, and this is the one that's really going to unlock, like this first exercise that we did just now, that is important because it's kind of like warming you up. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm cool. Like, yeah, I got some things going on. Yeah, I'm sweet. Yeah, I'm kind. Yeah, I'm I might not have the best grades, but I'm doing my best. Yeah, I'm swimming in life. Yeah. I'm a journaler. I'm a writer. I got this. I got 5 diaries. It's like we're starting to come to life again, right? We're starting to like come to life again as humans, as freaking human beings that we are. And it's like, yo, I'm actually pretty amazing. And okay, I showed up today. That's pretty cool. There's this guy that wants me to write myself a love letter. It's a little weird, but I'm with it and I'm going to do it. And as I'm doing it, I'm like, I'm pretty awesome. I'm sweet. I got a lot going on. I'm feeling good about myself. And then the next part, so this is the part that actually was inspired by Mary's share. And then Lamina, you jumped on it as well. I want us to write, and maybe we won't take 12 minutes. Maybe we'll take like 8 minutes because I want to hear interaction. I want to do an interaction. We have 30 minutes left. So let's do this. I want you to write a love letter to the thing about you that you don't love, to your darkness, to your shadow. I want you to, so there's this really interesting book that I read about a year ago called The Existential Kink. And the whole philosophy was like, we all have weird things that we do to self-sabotage. We all have things that we do to self-sabotage. We all have things that we do to make ourselves feel like shit. We all have things that we do to make ourselves feel insecure. We all have them. We all have them. There's not one person that has a life where they don't do something, And so the whole idea of the book was, what if you just like loved that part of yourself? What if you gave that part of yourself like complete permission? Complete permission to just be in that space. And I don't know if I completely agree with the philosophy of the book, but I do think that there's elegance in giving ourselves grace around that which is a little bit weird about us or really weird about us, And so, like, for example, this is like a kind of a minor example, but like for me, I will let my home get really, really unorganized. And as it's becoming unorganized and like the dishes are filling up and like the house, as it's becoming completely disorganized, I'm starting to get anxiety. I'm starting to get stressed out, but I keep doing it because my kink in this situation is like, I love the idea of tomorrow I'm going to clean it and it's going to look amazing. And I'm going to feel like I did something. So during the week, I might sabotage my entire flow of efficiency because I want that moment of like cleanliness that's going to come, the achievement that comes with it. And so instead of judging myself, being like, oh my God, you didn't do the dishes again. Oh my God, this place is falling apart again. Instead of judging myself on that, I'm just like, yep, you're going to love that moment when you clean it all. Yep, you're going to love that moment of achievement, aren't you? You're going to love how that feels, aren't you? So, that's a small example. We have, much more substantial things. So I want you to go in whatever direction you want. I want you to take 8 minutes and I want you to write a love. But here's the key. I want you to completely 100% own it all. Like, there's no shame, there's no guilt, there's no weirdness. It's like, this is what I'm scared of. Hey, fear, here's what I'm scared. I'm scared of getting sick. And therefore, I don't do anything ever out in the world because I'm so scared of getting sick. And okay, here's why I think this is happening. And here's what I'm willing to like pour love into to make that better. And this is where it gets really interesting. So, and this is where you don't have to share anything with me if you don't want. But if you do want, that's awesome too, because it's just like the second that you tell someone your darkest secret is the second that you're free. And you don't have to tell a group of strangers, but like oftentimes we're really scared of telling someone what our truth is. And that actually makes us more scared to hold that in. So I'm going to stop talking now. I think you get the idea. Let's go to 444, and then we'll have some time afterwards to share what those were if you want. All right. So actually, just write really fast. Let's go to 442. Just go. Ready? Go. Don't be scared. The writing this down, it will set you free. 2 more minutes, please. All right, go ahead and wrap up this whatever paragraph you're on. Go ahead and wrap it.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So who does anyone want to share what they just wrote? I'd love to hear these if you want. Only if you want, obviously. Oh, this is where we get shy, huh?
All right, I'll do it.
All right.
I got some cuss words in here.
It's all right.
All right.
You gotta talk to Jason. Jason's the one.
Sorry, Jason. All right. All right, here we go. Okay. Stop talking shit about yourself and telling yourself you are ugly. Stop making yourself unworthy. Stop making you feel like you can't get a good looking man because you live in the projects and are on welfare. Stop thinking that your kid is bound to be a fuck up because she doesn't have a father in her life. Remember, you're strong. It's okay not to have the best looking apartment because you're not good at designing. And it's okay to have a dirty house sometimes, even though sometimes it's always dirty.
Boom. Boom. How did that feel writing that?
It felt that I want to avoid everyone who's in here when I'm in school.
Nah, I think that this is the beauty of these shares. Like, this is something that everyone deals with in some way, like something that you said someone else is also dealing with. And so the fact that I think ultimately, like, we don't want to be alone. We don't want to feel like we're alone in life, right? That's what makes things scary. If there's a lot of people like you out there that can't find love, but they want love, then all of a sudden you don't feel so alone. Even if you're alone, you don't feel so alone. And that's why, that's why living in New York is such a special place. And that's why, in a lot of ways, that's why I love these love letters that I'm doing, is because I'm asking people, I'm hearing people's stories. And then in these conversations, you realize, wow, everybody is having a really unique human experience. Like the fact that you just said that you think that you can't get a good looking man because you live in the project. It's like, that's some really powerful share. Like, that's a really powerful thing to unwind, because if you think about what that means that people are placing monetary status on worthiness. That means that people are placing, socioeconomic living situation above your kindness, and this is something that I find to be really interesting in this world. And New York is a really interesting place because I've traveled a lot and I've lived in a lot of places in New York. New York is this place where I feel like if you can maintain some spiritual connection to yourself, then this place becomes really, really magical. If you can't, it becomes very stressful. And so I think that just the fact that you said that out loud, you know, I don't know how into energies you all are, but like I really believe that you're opening, you're unlocking something just by saying it out loud. Just by saying it out loud, because not only are you helping the people in this group to feel like they can be stronger and to connect with certain parts of that statement, but also you're saying like, hey, here's where I'm at. I got some insecurities. I think that my daughter's going to be messed up because she doesn't have a father. I think that I can't attract a hot man because I live in the projects. I think that blah, 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 blah. And then you get to say like, but none of that's true. And I can still get everything that I want. And that's where that's why we're doing this love letter part in two different pieces, because it's a connection between why do we feel like we're amazing? What makes us amazing? Because that part is beautiful to acknowledge, and we don't do that enough. But that's the easier of the two parts. The harder part is saying like, here's all the things that I actually don't really love about myself, and they're all perfect. And I can still write myself a love letter, and I can actually incorporate it into the thing that I said in the first part, right? And that's where I want us to all go. Because when things are going well, yeah, I love myself. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, everything's cool. I got a good job. I'm looking good. I'm feeling in shape. I'm feeling, that's great. And we should honor that, and we should love that. And we should continue to let that be a guiding light. But then what happens when like you start gaining weight again? Then what? Then you don't love yourself anymore? What happens when like you have someone over there like, oh, you live here? Like, then what? You have to, you know, it's almost like there's got to be almost like a structural shift in our own psyche around how, you know, especially in this town, you know, there's a lot of money in this town. So if you're comparing yourself to like the financial guy on Wall Street, you're going to always feel bad. And, you know, that's something that I deal with a lot as a creative. You know, like I'm proud of the business that I've made. I don't make a ton of money. I'm proud of my creativity. I have to hustle my ass off still 11 years later to make all these things happen. But that doesn't, I'm not looking at the Wall Street person who there's nothing wrong with being a Wall Street person, but that's not for me. So I'm not looking at that person thinking like, wow, I really wish that I had that, because I'm hustling for money and you're not, you're living in the penthouse. But so there's a dangerous comparison game when you're not really clear. And there's a dangerous game of like, you can get knocked off real quick if you're not clear on, hey, I'm kind. And that's actually more important than a lot of things that I'm stressing right now, you know, because the rest of the stuff can be learned. The rest of the stuff can happen, you know? So thank you so much for sharing, Sashi. That was amazing. Anybody else want to share before we run out of time here in a few? We could probably have time for one more if you want.
I'll share.
Awesome. Who? Oh, yeah, Ashley. Cool. There you are.
I know I have a hard time finishing tasks, and I'm anxious of what I can achieve, but I think through the journey in college, I will break free of the chains of unsureness and see all the potential and strength I possess.
I love that. And now the question becomes, right? Like, I'm always interested in digging deeper. So why are you unsure? What about life has made you unsure?
I don't know.
You probably do know. You don't have to answer that right now. You probably do know. And so I think that like your homework, right? Your deeper work is like, who was the voice that got into your head that made me unsure? Because you weren't born unsure. You were born really sure. You pooped when you wanted to poop, asked for food when you needed food. Like, you were pretty clear. You know, you're pretty clear. Like, Jason, I'm sure you see this with your kids. Like, they know what they want. Mama, dada, food, poop, move, you know, sleep now. It's time for me to sleep. I don't want to sleep. I'm awake, even though like sleep. I don't want to sleep. So somebody made you confused. Somebody made you insecure. Somebody made you unsure. So then the next wave of all of this, right? And if we had more time, we continue to go into these waves. But the next wave of all this is like, who made you unsure? And it could be a person, could be an experience, could be yourself, but probably not yourself. Could have been like a decision that you made that you were like, dang, I really messed this decision up. I really like lost a lot of money, or I lost the person I love, or I lost. So something triggers us, right? Something traumatizes us. So you have to figure out like, what is it? Because you saying like, I'm unsure, I don't complete tasks, right? My thing is like, ask yourself like 5 or 10 more levels deep, the question like, why, why? You know, so maybe for you, it's like, why am I unsure of myself? Because I was with some really crappy partner that made me feel like everything that I did was wrong. Well, why did I pick that partner? Because I was lonely. Why were you lonely? Because my brother stopped talking to me. Why did your brother stop talking to you? Because I stood up for what I believe. Okay, so you're actually worried about if you stand up for what you believe, then you'll lose people you love. But that's like 5 levels deep. And therefore, like you don't want to, like, you don't even know what you want to believe because you don't want to lose someone you love. But that's different than like, I'm just unsure and I can't finish tasks. So that's where we have to do like deeper work around what is actually going on. And this is what I really like, if nothing else in this conversation, I really want to encourage everyone. It's like, you actually do know what's going on. It's not so fun to say out loud, and it's not so fun to admit because it can be scary, but it's the only way to really be free. Like what I really want for everybody on this call is to be free. And the only way you can ever actually be free is by acknowledging the truth. And that truth changes all the time. So you don't have to dwell on it. You don't have to like swim around in your own, you know, dwelling or your own shame or your own trauma. You don't have to do that. But it is important to know what it is that's triggering us into places of anxiety or unhappiness or uncertainty, because then we can either avoid them completely or we can recognize when they're happening. Pattern recognition, right? Like that's a big thing for me, like pattern recognition. What is this? Is like something that I've smelled before. This, I've been here before. This doesn't feel good in my soul. This doesn't feel good in my central nervous system. I've been here before. What was it? What was it? What was it? Boom. And then accessing. Oh, sure. This is what a year ago when I was binge eating. This is exactly the same feeling. I'm not binge eating now, but it's like the same structure. So how did I get out of that? Okay, I got into the gym. What's the equivalent of the gym for me right now? So it's just a self-awareness game. You know, it's like, it's just a game of like, I've been here before and I got out of it. Or I've been here before and I really messed up and I didn't get out of it. What can I do now? What can I do now? But in order to understand that, we have to be like really, really accepting of what it is. I gave you the example of like me having a dirty house. That's just that's a safe, I was playing it safe with you all. But if I went deeper and deeper and deeper into some of my own like my own psychosis, my own mania, you know, it's like there's a deep fear of commitment for like a romantic partner. Why? Because I don't want to lose my independence. Why? Because, and if you go deeper and deeper and deeper, you realize like actually what you're saying to yourself isn't even like the truth. It's so much deeper. It's like, oh, you're like just scared of someone leaving you and making you feel terrible. And therefore you're masking it and like you don't want to lose your independence. But in order for you to ever have anything meaningful with somebody, you have to be like, okay. And so I like right now, I will say to someone that I'm dating, like, yo, I'm having a moment right now. I'm going to tell you that I'm scared of losing my independence, but really what's happening is I'm scared that you're going to leave and I'm going to feel terrible. And then whoosh, everything just opens up. They're like, why do you think I'm going to leave? And then you're having a totally different conversation. You're having the actual conversation, right? So like do that with yourself, Ashley. Like, why am I uncertain? Why am I insecure about certain things? And then where can I build there? And then pour love around that. Does that make sense? Cool. Final thoughts, questions, concerns. If anyone wants to do another reading, we can do one more probably. But if you have any questions, go for it.
I would like to read mine.
Yes, great. Lamina, go for it.
Dear Lamina, I don't know why you can't stop feeling that you're not good enough. Like, why do you think your achievements are not good enough? Why do you feel like you're not worth people complimenting you when you're doing great in class, or when the professors say you're a good kid, but you don't believe it? Why do you feel like when you get an answer wrong, you think you're stupid or you're not good enough? Why do you compare yourself with others? Why do you think you will never be enough? Like, why? Why do you feel this way?
Yeah. So now your homework is go back and answer all those questions. Right? Like for real. and no one, and then you burn the shit out of that paper afterwards. Like no one ever has to read it. But like you need to figure out the answer to those questions, because those are really deep questions, brother. Like that you're gonna have a really like, and this is coming from someone who struggles with the exact same thing, being good enough, like doing more and more and more and more and more and more to prove that I'm good enough, and like hoping the professor tells me that I'm doing a good job, and like growing up in a way that was very, very results driven, like very results driven. You know, I was treated with more or less respect based on what I was able to produce. My value was directly connected to how I performed in athletics, how I was doing at my job, how my grades were, right? These are, so for me, because I've had to answer those same questions for myself, it's because my self-worth has always been connected to productivity. And if I'm not producing and if I'm not operating at a high level, I'm like, you're a piece of shit. You're not doing anything. You're lazy. That's where I default. That's my toxic behavior that I start to tell myself, right? But now, because I've done this work that I'm encouraging you to do, I can recognize that, okay, you're feeling a little bit bad right now about yourself because maybe you haven't done like a big project in the last couple of months. But what else have you done? Oh, you wrote a song for your sister. You called your mom every day. You deepened your relationship with nature. You ate healthier. You moved your body. And then all of a sudden, like, you're not so dependent on the college, on the professor telling you that you're a good kid. You can just generate that inside of yourself for yourself. And that's a really, really powerful place to get to. And so like, I really want that for you, because it's a hard place to be when you're never feeling like you're enough. So I really appreciate you sharing that with me now. Awesome. Okay, so I think we're out of time, and I want to respect everyone's time because you showed up and you're awesome. So a couple things that I would say, just to close it all out. First of all, thank you. You were amazing, amazing, amazing. I know that these Zoom things are, there's a lot of Zoom fatigue, and I know that there's a lot, there's a lot of life force that's required in addition to your own life force just to be in these virtual spaces. And I'm so grateful that you were all here and you participated in such a beautiful way. So thank you so much for that. The second thing is I would encourage you to continue these processes, even if it's only like 5 minutes a day, even if you just write yourself a little love letter every single day. And then what you can do is you can start to write them for other people, and this is something that I think is really beautiful. Like, pick up a postcard when you walk down the street tomorrow and just write someone that you love a little love letter. And just kind of see how that starts to shift. Like, your psychological states will definitely shift, and do it for yourself and do it for other people, but just show love. We need more love in the world. And the third thing is just like me showing love for not only all of you, but for Jason. And we, I always like to close by just acknowledging how amazing this man is, and how amazing and how dedicated he is to you all. Usually I get to say this in person, but it's such a rare gem to find someone that has no alternative motives other than actually like serving and helping. Like, I've known this guy for 11 years now, and it's just so obvious to me how pure your heart is, Jason, and how pure your and how your capacity to give is immense. Like, you have a family as well now, and you have like there's I've watched this transition for you over these years, but your dedication remains unwavering, and I just want to acknowledge you for that, and I want to thank you for giving me access to these beautiful, brilliant people that have surrounded themselves around you because of you. And so I always think that it's so special to be able to be invited into a large community like this. Like, this thing that's happening here is so much work and energy, right? Not only for all of you to show up, but for Jason to organize, for him to continuously battle for funding, for him to continuously like set up programs that will service you, and all the behind the scenes things that I'm sure none of us even know happen. And then all of a sudden I get to drop in for a couple of hours and do my thing, but it never falls short on me that in order for me to be able to come in here and do this thing with you, there's years and years and years and years of trust and commitment behind it. And so I just want to honor you for that, Jason. And I want to thank you all for coming in today. And use Jason, talk to him, tell him how much what you need, tell him what you're grateful for, because even though Jason does things in a way that like it's never expecting anything, it's always nice to receive that feedback. It's always nice to have that your own rocket fuel you know um, ignited as well. So thank you, Jason, for letting me come in. Thank you for all of you. Please do stay in touch. I dropped in my social media. I dropped in the love letters. I think you'll find some of the stories really interesting. They're all New York based. And if any of those, by the way, this is also like part of my vision with those love letters is that I want it to be kind of like a networking thing too. So like if any of those stories interest you and you want to get involved either through possible internships or possible volunteer opportunities or possible jobs, reach out to me, reach out to me and reach out to me for anything. If you want to share some of your love letters with me, if this helped and you want to share something with me, if you need something, reach out to me. I always love to hear from you all. And thank you for your time today. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you, Jason, and thank you all of you.
So just before you all leave, I know I want to honor the time. It's 5 o'clock. I want to say thank you to Brian for always being willing to do this. I spoke about this last week at our orientation session. Brian, like a lot of the folks who worked with us through the pandemic, were quite selfless to come and work even for free just to do these workshops. And I'm glad that he's able to continue to do this work with us because I think it's important. You may not realize it even right now. It may take you a couple of hours, it may take you a couple of days, but something will resonate with you after one of these workshops, and it will sting you in a way that makes you realize that you learn something that is essential to your being and how you can grow and how you can develop in any way that you are choosing to do that. And as Brian highlighted, we all do that in our own way on our own timeline. There's no quick answer. There's no you don't get a cap and it says leader on it. And then all of a sudden you're just you're leading the masses. You learn piece by piece. And it's from instinct and experience and from self exploration that you realize all the things that you can do. So Brian, thank you for fleshing that out with everybody. We're going to do more of this next week, not writing, but a little bit more talk about this with Mars Bishop, and his workshop's called Mindset is Everything. So we're going to talk about, what your mindset is, how you're focusing the right way to get the things done that you want to do. And I just want to say one last thing. I didn't write in the chat, but thank you everybody for all the thank yous and the kind words in the chat. The one thing that Brian's right about, and the one thing that you'll hear from folks who are here who are alumni, or folks who were here last year in the program, or folks who were here 15 years ago when we started the program, is that I'll always see the best part of you. I'll always look to see the brightest side of you. My favorite, when I realized that, was actually going out and volunteering and taking pictures of you guys. And most people are like, oh, no, you took the picture of me when I was eating my sandwich or whatever it is. We had joke about that. But at the end of the day, if you come in my office, and some of you have never even seen my office as of yet, some of you have. I know Ashley was there this week. Sashi drops by every so often. Brian obviously knows a few others who have dropped by the office. You'll see my pictures on my wall. It's you. It's every one of the folks who served over the last 15 years who were part of the program. And you ask me who's in the picture, and I know who's in the picture. And I will tell you their story. From the time they joined until the time they became a United States diplomat, they became an anesthesiologist, they became a teacher, they had their family, they married somebody else in the academy, they started a family together, they became an insurance agent, they became an engineer, whatever it is. I will tell you the story. And for those of you, a few people I reached out today, when you need somebody to talk to about that journey, where's it going to go next? I'll put you in the text message with them so that you're having a conversation and you ask them, what's the journey like? It's not going to be the same, but they're going to give you some roadmap. They're going to give you some ideas about how to conquer it. And then the final thing I'll say, and then I'll let you go for the long weekend for a lot of you guys, is Brian is also a great tangential mentor. So he said it. You can reach out to him in any number of ways, touch base with him. I have seen it myself. I've heard about it, conversations that people have had with Brian. invited him to do things, volunteered to do things. We even I think he had an intern at some point from our group. People can continue to connect with the folks who come and speak here and realize that these are special individuals who really do care about the program, who care about you, and will continue to try to make an impact in a positive way in your life. They will never, put you in a place where you feel down on yourself. They're always going to be uplifting and try to give you the balance you need or the support that you need to get to the next level. And so thank you, Brian, for always doing that and being that. And thank you all for being here today. I know there was some technical issues that went off. I was trying to deal with it by next week's workshop. Hopefully it won't be there. Zoom changes all the rules every couple of weeks. So I have to learn all the new rules every couple of weeks. So I will change that and make sure that everybody's there. And as I do every session, I'm going to try to say goodbye to you all. I'll let you guys see the group still here. So thank you. Have a great weekend. If those of you who are volunteering over the next couple of days, I will be out there tomorrow. I'm going to send an email with that. For those of you who are going out on Sunday, thank you for volunteering. I won't be there, but enjoy yourselves and be careful, obviously. So have a great weekend. Cisse, Brian, Ashley, Brian, Rashid, Yasir, Fatima, Sashi, Fatumata, Elizabeth, Casey, Kim, Annie, Lamina, Veronica, Sabrina, Adama, Francine, and Jessica. And there were there's a bunch of other people here as well. I wish you a good weekend. It's going to be 4 days, obviously, because a lot of you have the Monday and Tuesday for the Jewish holidays. Enjoy it. Stay warm, stay healthy, stay safe, and I will see you next week. And Brian, love you, and always stay in touch, okay?
Love you too, Jason. Thank you, everyone.
Love you, boss. Thank you.
Have a great weekend. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye,
you for
everyone. Have a great
sharing,
weekend.
everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow.